If you're in a difficult relationship, focusing on the other person will never work, right? So what do we think when we're in a difficult relationship? We think, oh, how dare he treat me like that, or she? How can I get him to understand me? If I get angry and put my foot down and threaten to tear this family apart, maybe he'll wake up and change. You know by now that none of that works, okay? The only person that you have control over is you. The only person that can change you is you. And the only person that can change him is him. It's not your responsibility to get it through his thick skull. Don't get me wrong, okay? I did what you're doing, okay? I focused on him for far too long, and it didn't get me anywhere. And then I realized the secret, and it took me a long time to realize that secret, like literally 15 years. So you can thank me later, but I'll give it to you for free. Okay, so this is him. Okay, let's make a little smirk on his face, okay? Because we know, when you know, you know. Okay, and this is you. Do-do. And you're pretty pleasant, even though you're going through trauma, right? Okay, now this is what happens. So how did you meet him? First of all, let's talk about what he's bringing up for you, okay? So maybe he's manipulating you or controlling you or twisting facts, gaslighting and, like I said, guilt tripping you all the time or intimidating you and going around in circles. We all know how that is, right? So how do you feel? So that's what he's doing. How do you feel? You feel disempowered. Could you feel lonely maybe? Yes, lonely. Could you feel helpless? Yes. Would you feel powerless? How do I know that? Because that was me, okay? So these are emotions. They're stuck in the body and they create an aura. Okay, that's the truth. Your emotions create your aura and then you attract more of what you don't want. Okay, so this didn't start yesterday, okay? If you're going through this, chances are after the love bombing phase or maybe after you tie the knot, the shit happened right away, okay? And that's because these emotions already were sitting in your body. But you weren't focusing on you. You were focusing on other people. Because chances are, before you met this person, okay, you went through abuse with other people, okay? So maybe you felt disempowered and lonely and helpless and powerless with maybe your family. And then you thought, you had a brilliant idea. Hey, let me jump from the pot into the fire. And then the universe is like, yeah, you haven't learned the lesson yet, my friend. So let's pair you with someone who's going to trigger the fucking shit out of you, okay? And then what might you do? You might stay in coping mechanisms and you might go to therapy and your therapist might say, oh, well, you know what? Just set boundaries. Okay, well, how are you going to set boundaries when they can sense your energy? You're nervous, okay? You're anxious, and your autopilot response is not to set boundaries. That is surface level advice, okay? So in order to change what's happening and how they are treating you, or maybe not even how they're treating you, but how you respond to it, maybe you won't even get triggered anymore. So you have to change this. How are you going to change this? You have to change this because it's sitting in your body and it's creating your aura, okay? And then what happens, okay, is that all realities are simultaneously happening in the quantum field. So if this is the quantum field, okay, and these are the realities that you have, okay, maybe one reality is that all realities are happening in the quantum field. So maybe there's a reality where you are with the love of your life who treats you really well. Maybe there's a reality where you're single and you're loving it. Maybe there's a reality where he starts to treat you well because he's also grown with you. Maybe there's a reality where you stay and it gets worse. The abuse gets worse. Or maybe you stay and it just stays the same, whatever. And maybe there's a version of you that gets really sick because these emotions become toxic in your body and then you get sick. So what happens? How do you align with one of these experiences? Through your energy, through your aura, okay? So let's just say, I need red. Where's my red marker? Okay, forget it. So say this is the reality that you're on. This is the reality that you're on where you are in survival mode and you are trying to get him to treat you better and you are trying to get him to change and you are focusing on him and you are sacrificing your needs, your feelings, your desires, and even your peace to make it work with this person and nothing is working. That is the reality that you're on. How? Because you aligned with it through your energy. How did you align with it through your energy? Through your emotions. So that is why your therapist or your marriage counselor is not able to help you because they're giving you surface level advice most of the time, okay? And a lot of the times, I know I went to marriage counseling and they would say things like, try this, try communicating this with each other. And they didn't get to the root. Like, why is this actually happening at the subconscious level? That is why when people talk about marriage counseling, people say, oh, you know what? That just leads to divorce. Well, of course it does. If you're going to talk surface level shit, it's not going to work out. We got to get to the root. We got to get to the core. Think energy, frequency, vibration, the subconscious mind, the brain, neuroplasticity, habits. Okay, it takes a holistic approach. So forget about the surface level shit and let's get to the core. If you wanted to learn more, like I said, hit that follow button and I'd love to hear in the comments if this is making sense to you. See you soon.